Hello folks and welcome. So today's video is going to be mostly about Solaar. It's an application to program, or I should say pair, Logitech keyboard and mice. I'm going to give you the example and scenario. I have a keyboard that I have 3 buttons here, and these represent 3 different computers. So I literally have 3 tower computers around my desk, but I only have one keyboard that controls all 3. 2 of these are programmed with the same mouse, and I'm not using the same mouse. Now, when you buy a keyboard set similar to this, you get one of these. And I'm going to talk about stuff like that today. I'm going to talk about this application called Solaar. And if you have more than one battery instance on your panel bar, I'll also talk about the solution for that, if you've been looking for that on the internet for a while. So welcome, Linux Mint 21.2 Cinnamon. I am filming in 1920 by 1080, so you can adjust your YouTube player accordingly. You're watching this on Linux for Seniors. If you can see this round logo, this is a watermark. Down over here, you can click on that to subscribe to Linux for Seniors. What do you find on my channel? Over 250 videos on all kinds of Linux tips and tricks. Not only for Mint, but for other Linux distros also. Linux is for any age, but my channel's name is Linux for Seniors. I have lots of material for you. If you do not see this circle here above the or near the time and date thing, you are watching this video on someone else's channel. That's all I'm going to say to that. If you are already a subscriber, thank you and welcome back. So, why did I buy extra dongles or receivers? That's because I needed computer number 2, for instance, to be available as soon as I turn the computer on, so I can get into the basic input operating system right away. Bluetooth does not solve that issue for me. So basically you get one of these receivers, and this is the designated logo for that if you're curious about unifying receivers. That did not solve my issue. Usually what happens is you get one of those receivers and then you set up the other 2, like number 2 and 3, with Bluetooth. But since I'm setting the machine up from scratch, Bluetooth is not available for me right out from get-go. As soon as I power the system up and trying to get into BIOS, that doesn't work well. Trust me, I went through this a long time ago. Buying these extra 2 does solve that issue for me, because I can use the same keyboard to control computer 1, 2, and 3. They're all tower computers. But more importantly, they also have multiple operating systems, every one of these. Number 3 has Windows 11 along with Linux on it. Number 3, I got a different mouse programmed in than 2 and 3. 1 and 2, I'm sorry. So 1 and 2 have the same keyboard and mouse, 1 and 2. And the third one has the same keyboard but a different mouse. Hopefully that made sense. So when you buy extras like these, and you can see the cost factor right here, these are blanks. And the tool that you use is this right here for Linux. It's called Solaar. So the unifying receiver, or dongle is what I call it, can be paired up to 6 devices. These come blank. But the one that you purchase with the if you're purchasing a combo set like this, they come with 1. So what I did was I took out the original mouse, which was an M720, I think it was, because there was something going on with the scroll wheel that I didn't like. So I unpaired it. And I repaired this one. And pairing means that you make the unifying receiver talk to each other, if you're not familiar with that terminology. So the unifying receiver, all it's doing is communicating to the keyboard and mouse. So as you're setting these things up, normally like on, let's say, button number 2, you press and hold it to put it in pairing mode, or whatever. You know, there's lots of different Logitech keyboards. And again, all of these are Logitech products that I'm speaking of today. That's why these are called Logitech Unifying Receivers. But they're wonderful little tools to solve issues like I have. where I wanted to use one keyboard on all three computers, and I wanted the keyboard to be available immediately when I turned the computer on without having to worry about any Bluetooth stuff. Okay, so these come blank, and you use this tool to literally program it. And what I mean by programming is pairing it. So this went to sleep because it's got a battery saving mode. So as soon as I hit my space bar, this will turn darker color, just like that. And again, I can pair up to 6 devices per receiver. Now, doing the keyboard thing is very simple. Doing the mouse, I usually use a different mouse because usually when you're in pairing mode, you can't be using the same mouse to click with. So that would be the only caveat to this. The keyboard, on the other hand, is pretty simple. Now, the tool that you're going to be looking for is found in your software manager called Solaar. So as soon as your software manager open, type in SOL, 2 A's and an R. Remember the 2 A's. Again, this is for Logitech products. All right, you can install that. And once you install that and you have, let's say you got 2 things, you got a keyboard and mouse, you may see 2 battery indicators on your panel. And you go out to the internet trying to solve this issue. It recommends maybe editing some files, and you never end up with a positive solution. I'm going to show you how to actually eliminate the second or third battery indicator. So a lot of people live with that. I did for a long time until I got some time to think about this problem. And I went through the same procedure you probably went through if you hadn't tried to use this. So in your startup applications under System Settings, you have a Solaar. As soon as you install the application, it will install this in Mint. And it will be active. And it will not have a delay on it. It'll look like that, but say Solaar on it with no delay. Why did I put a 50-second delay? That's how I solved this when loading multiple instances. So in the past, this used to have 2 battery indicators, and if I closed one, it would close the other. It didn't matter which one I tried to close, but there would only be 1 instance here. I went through the internet, looked for a solution for this, and never found one. Till one day I decided to throw a delay on that, and that solved the issue from loading 2 of these. You don't have to have this on at all. You can just turn it off, because once these are programmed, you don't need this anymore. Unless you want that battery indicator. In my case, I left it on. And the reason I like this is when I can click on it, I can see the battery percentages. The one for Mint comes like this, and it just says battery full or battery empty or battery something. Okay, so again, it's a preference thing if you want to see it. If I don't want to see this, I could literally get rid of it. And turn this off in my startup folder also. Now it won't load anymore. Will it still work fine? Yes, it will, because I've already programmed the unified receiver. The whole reason for Solaar is literally just to program those things. But in my case, I just wanted to see the extra battery indicator. So again, SOL AA. So now it's going to reload that. And I'm going to close that because right now I'm just waiting for the mouse to update. And it will just stay resident here. Let me turn this back on in my startup folder because I actually like to stare at that icon. I'm just funny that way. So yes, I do have 2 of them. Okay. So that just says Solaar on it. So again, if you are looking for a solution, again, you can certainly get, you get the one receiver and pair it up with your mouse or whatever. And the second and third, you probably have paired them up with Bluetooth. However, you normally need a fully functional operating system to run those 2 in Bluetooth mode. As in my case, console number 2, computer number 2, was a tower computer that had a fresh hard drive. And I needed to get into the BIOS, set it up, boot the ISO image from scratch, and I needed a functional keyboard that didn't require a Bluetooth driver right out of the get-go or right out of the box. This is just like having an extra dongle because I programmed these 2, just like the original. from here, from Solaar. And then I unplugged these and plugged them in their respective computers. So this will be in computer 1, computer 2, computer 3. It's like having 3 of these. They don't come with 3, unfortunately. They come with 1. I haven't shopped for a computer keyboard in a while, but Logitech makes lots of different ones with multiple things. Now this mouse here, if you look at it closely, it has 3 positions. The one that I'm using is actually this one. This has only 2, and it's got a simple button on the top. It's position 1 and 2. Now, I told you earlier that I programmed the 3rd one with Windows 11. That one I use a different mouse, actually. But I use the same keyboard. The same keyboard on all of my Linux computers. Multiple boot here, multiple boot here. Dual boot, I'm sorry, no, it's not dual boot, it's multi-boot also. Windows 11 with also Linux distributions. But again, the keyboard is available for me as soon as I turn on my computer on all 3. And if you've been looking for a solution for that kind of a problem, I would probably aim you in the direction of doing something like that if you're wanting to keep one keyboard on your desktop. You can also buy these tools called KVMs and run a bunch of wires all over the place. I'm sorry, but this is very tiny, the size of my fingernail. That solution here is a lot quicker for me. But again, for you, maybe you want to buy one of those KVM boxes or whatever and share all those mice and computer things, your keyboards and mice. I'm just talking wireless now. If you're into wired keyboards and stuff, that's a different thing to tackle. All right, so one more time. The name of the application is Solaar. Find that in your software manager. And again, if you find that you've already got these paired up and you lose your mouse, the mouse breaks, you can always unpair them and pair a new one. My suggestion is when you're doing pairing of mice, is to use a separate one, because normally when you're in pairing mode, you can't be pointing and clicking with the same mouse. If you use a separate mouse just for the programming of the unifying receiver, you're a little bit better off. The keyboard, not so much. You can program that with your current setup. Thank you for watching.